Hey everybody, it's boy protagonist JWa with Gardening with JWa. Check out this fig. And there's Deanie Weenie. Look at that. I had some leftover Colin clay, so I just kind of poured it on it. Look how crazy that looks. When you do that, you don't really see it, but then after it dries, it becomes like super white. So today I'm doing a gardening vlog. I also got to do a video on trunk painting, and I also got to do a video on thinning fruit, and it's kind of harder to see with this guy, but there is fruit here. It's easier to see on the peach because the peach has like a natural fuzziness that creates a hue, so you can see all the fruit on the peaches way more easier. You know, it's way easier to see the fruit on the peaches than it is to see it on the apricot. Look at that, it's like a little freaking jungle. To my Mexican sunflower getting all big, and you can see where I kind of cut in a wedge to let light go into these lower fruits. All this fruit right here, and then obviously I put a little bit of Colin clay on it just to protect it. I got to do some more once we get hotter, and as I kind of cut back some of this stuff. And then you can see Dean, who's on the hunt for mulberries because he's a fatty. In fact, that is one fat mulberry right there. Let me go grab that. Holy crap. And then my Mexican elderberry, not to be confused with my Mexican sunflower. Let me get up in here. You know, I didn't think this guy was going to bloom as much, but it's coming up with a bunch of secret buds that I'm not a fan of because I'm going to have to thin it out. It's ridiculous. So, some of the dwarf everbearing is really starting to swell, which is kind of crazy. So you can kind of see the ones that are swelling versus the ones that aren't. You see those? See how these are getting like way juicier? You're starting to see it. But yeah, look how crazy everything is. But yeah, you see this? These little fat boys are just digging for mulberry droppings because obviously you can't get everything, but like, look at that. Let's see that. Boop. See? Mulberries. And then Dean liked to eat them because he's fat. So he even got a little bit on his nose. Little bastard. Ooh, I gotta get one for Kylo now. It's hard to... Holy cow, look at that beauty. Look at you. They're all under the leaves. So you just gotta give it a little tug. If it comes off, then you're good to go. Oh, sorry if you hear the airplanes. I got great news. Number one, I don't know if you can see it. It's a wee thing. It's hard to see, but there's a little bud. The mango's alive. The mango is not dead. I am a champion. That was surprising. The little loquat seedling down there. Who knows what's going on with that guy, to be honest. Who knows? And then this guy, he's dead on the top, but he's alive on the bottom. And honestly, here's the crazy part. This was just like a sapote, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Now, obviously, the seedling, I don't know how they graft it. I imagine they just get a seedling, and then they graft the named, sorry, I'm filming the wrong thing. They graft the named cultivar on top. Here's my personal thought process. The seedling is clearly more cold hardy than the named cultivar. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop this off, and I really got to do a better job about like positioning it up, but I'm going to chop it off because it's just so exposed. Like, look at that. I really planted it way too high. It was an accident. And the soil just shed it away. So I really got to fill that out. But yeah, I'm going to chop the top off, and then I'm just going to see what happens. Because, you know, who knows? But yeah, he was supposed to be a raw sapote. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Now the loquats are starting to get way easier to spot. You just look for the big heads. See that? Look for the big old heads. But this thing's also, the sherry is also blooming again, as you can see from the white. So it's a weird It's weird. I think it's because it got cold again, then it got hot again, and then it got cold again. And maybe that's why. I count probably like 15. The bee. Probably 15 actual freaking fruit that I can like probably reasonably guesstimate. But I'm hoping, like I said, for that one, I'm hoping to get 30. And then check this guy out. Is that not beautiful? I don't know how well that catches. Look at that. When it gets hot, this will all turn green. Such a beautiful showy. This is a spicy nectarplum. I don't know if this guy's got any fruit on him. Flowered like crazy. I think I showed you in a previous live. But I can't see any fruit. Now here's the thing. Some of them, it's really hard to see it. Sorry if my camera panning is terrible. But I'm trying to see if I can spot. Obviously my tropic pink guava is doing really good. A lot of new growth. Aravaipa avocado doing really good. A lot of new growth. Some paint and then some kaolin clay. But yeah, I can't see any, like, I'm not seeing any. Here's the thing. I think the spicy nectarplum wants a pollinator. I don't have any other nectarines or anything. So we'll see how many fruit we get. But last year I got about, I would say, well, I didn't get any because they got all jacked up. But I think the spicy nectarplum wants a pollinator. I might need to see what would work with that. And then what I might try to do is at that base there, I might try to graft something that goes up. So I'll graft another variety on it. I might experiment with that so I can get like some more diversity here. But like I said, you got the blooms, they fall off, nothing crazy going on there. The bees were all over this, but I don't see any fruit on this thing. It's a toughie. Yeah, I don't know what I would do if so here's the thing I have with this tree is it's very pretty. I'm looking, I don't see anything. I see more buds, but no sign of fruit. Yeah, so the problem I have with this tree is nectarines, they get scarred and messed up, and then the fruit quality is kind of sketch. But then at the same time, this guy, very beautiful, grows very good, but it still doesn't produce a good amount of fruit, like at all. So this year, I kind of wanted to see what would happen or how it could perform. If later this year, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I might be tempted to, we'll see. Some trees I want to give some time, but like he has a massively thick trunk. He has the nutrition. She's just not producing good. Oh, there's one. You see it? You see the little guy? It's not zooming. It's not doing it right, but there he is. So it's probably like, they're hidden. There may be like 15 fruit on this. I think my thought process is if I can't harvest at least 20 to 30 fruit off of a tree this size, then I am going to be tempted to do one of two things. One, change how I have it trimmed up and then graft onto it other nectarine varieties, knowing that they're all going to get kind of scarry, but they'll at least produce. Or two, I'll take it out completely and just replace it with something else kind of fun and festive, maybe another loquat I'll grow from seed, or maybe something else, you know, like a ruby red grapefruit. I'm not really sure. It all depends. Oh, and then obviously all the trees are bustling with blooms that are now turning into fruit. So the citrus are doing really good. As you can see, very, very beautiful. They're starting to be more towards the fruit stage at this point, where they turn into a little weird fruit. Let's see. I'm gonna grab me. Just grab me a little bit of that. It's gotta There it is. There's that fat boy. Always so juicy and it stains. And then I can eat the tip. And I'll give the rest to the pups. Although I gotta be careful. I can't give them too much fruit, because then they'll gotta go poop a lot. And I'm surprised the birds aren't hitting this as hard. Oh, you can't see it. A bird did hit that one. Oh, yeah. Because we had this weird warm and then cold, warm and then cold, the coloring, usually these are supposed to be like black. Good flavor still, but definitely not the best year, and they sting your fingers. You know what's funny? Because I have the stained fingers, you can be like, oh, it's that time of the month. And they'll be like, what? And it's like mulberry season. Holy cow. I actually didn't look at this guy. This is the almond. A lot of little baby ones too. A lot of baby ones. That's so weird. You got like super jumbo and then a bunch of babies. That's so strange. And then you're probably thinking, oh man, this persimmon's dead. No, this persimmon is alive. It's busted. The persimmon's always the latest to go. So you'll see that I like paint it a little bit. Well, I have to paint it so keep it protected when we get those higher temperatures. Dang, Dean is really digging deep in there. I gotta go ahead and I gotta thin these apples. This is just like a one apple. I'm not gonna get much in the way of apples this year. I really I don't even know what that is. I think a bird pooped on it. But I gotta thin out some apples still. Even though I'm not gonna get much, I still gotta thin apples. And then just look at that. All the freaking weeds. Holy cow. Good growth on the citrus. And you know what I love about spraying with the Callan clay? Every like month, you can kind of chart the growth of your citrus and how well it's doing. So really good growth there. Definitely got to cut the grass. And look at this, like this is the New Zealand lemonade. They say that this one's very dwarfing, but the reason it's dwarfing is because it's so productive. It produces so much fruit that it doesn't have the energy to grow significantly. So my assumption is that when I remove all of the fruit, this guy then, once it's out of flowering season, will probably grow really fast. The second, that's usually what I find. You're either dwarfing because you have a slower grower, or you're dwarfing because you're too productive. I prefer dwarfing because you're too productive, because then when you thin the fruit, or you remove the fruit, you get it to grow faster, and then when you don't want it to grow anymore, you let it produce, and it just produces. I mean, look at that. That's insane. That is insane. Look how thick that trunk is. It is producing all these blooms. That is way too productive. Way too productive. And then obviously you guys missed it because I don't think I covered it last week, but all my burgundy plum, all the blooms are they turning into fruit. Some of them are going to turn into fruit. You can't see it, but some of them are turning into fruit. This will actually put this tree right here. I'm gonna have to thin it, but this tree would easily try to produce like 50 to 70 fruit. I'll probably thin it down to like, I don't know. Plums tend to be ready like immediately, so I'll probably thin this guy down to like 30 or 40, probably closer to 30. Just depends. And then look at these guys. This is my Rio. Just tons of blooms, tons of fruit. I'm gonna thin this guy. Obviously, I don't want him producing any fruit. And then, like, if you go look down here, I gotta cut the grass. But look at this. Just look at that. It's insane. This is the cocktail grapefruit. It's essentially, it's not cocktail as in multi-grafted. It's just the name of the variety. If you look up cocktail grapefruit, you'll see what I'm talking about. And even the little stick that is the Cara is just put on an insane amount of growth. So yeah, everything's going super duper well. Last two things I'll showcase real quick, then I gotta cut it, but you can kind of see it just loaded with freaking this thing's gonna produce. I will be, as long as I maintain water, which I will, as long as I maintain food, which I will, and as long as I maintain how the weeds and everything grow around it, and keep chopping and dropping, which I will, then this thing will put on a beautiful harvest this year. Well, next year technically, right? But I think they're ripe. Like starting in December, you can harvest Kishu, and then it's really like December, January, February, and then they have a long hold time too, I believe. I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on that. But I think Kishu could be like a December through probably March, April, kind of like the Tango Mandarin. That's my thought process, but I'll know for sure later this year. So there's that. Oh, and then another update I wanted to give. So much going on. Look at this. So much. It's like crazy. It's taller than me. Oh, no. I'm a little bit taller. About the same size. Uh-oh. Look at that. What is this? What is this? Ah! Don't want to piss off the breeze. You see that? I don't know what that guy's doing. What is that? It might be dead. It might be alive and just chilling. It might be a male. It looks weird. It looks different than all the other bees. And in springtime, the bees mate. Oh, wow, look at this. Look at that guy. I don't know if you can see it. Now that's either, that's one of two things. I don't know for sure. I don't know if you can see it. It's either a leaf-footed bug or an assassin. I don't think it would be a leaf-footed bug because this isn't a pomegranate. And I typically see those on like pomegranates and stuff like that. So this might be an assassin. It's hard to tell because I don't see the needle. They have this little needle they stick in. So it could be. The bee is alive. It is moving. That bee might be a male drone that's already had kids and been kicked out of the nest. Because, oh yeah, look at the other one. See? You see that? I don't know how well that got caught. But yeah, this bee looks completely different than the other bee. So I think it's like a drone or something. But and that's neither here nor there. So as you can see, the Calamandan is productive. It's also a really thick trunk, and it produces like all year long. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I thought about this and I decided I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it produce even through our summer and just see what happens. There's a lot more moisture on this side of the yard and the ground saturates more and there's a lot more puddling. So I'm just gonna let this guy do its thing, see what happens, and hopefully if I think it's a mistake and I need to cut loose and I'll drop the fruit, I mean, theoretically this thing would self-drop, but I'm just gonna let it do what it wants because this boy's got thorns. I don't know if you can see that. And it just won't stop blooming. There's only so many fruit I can cut off, and this is to be too much. And it has a nice, if this trunk was as thin as that guy, I would cut all the fruit. But because the trunk is at a, like, let me put it this way. If I had planted this Calamandan September of last year, I would not thin it, guaranteed. I can't remember when I planted it. It might have been more closer to January or February that I planted this guy. So it didn't get the full benefit, but it was early enough in the season that I think, given the thickness of the trunk, given the vigor of this tree, given the vigor of my feeding schedule, I think I'm going to be okay to just let it fly. I don't know if I messed up at a future date, but for now, I think this is going to be one of the citrus where I kind of break my rules. So I'll let you know if I end up regretting it. All right, well, that's it. I think that's good enough for a vlog. A lot of stuff going on in the yard, a lot of stuff I haven't even touched on yet. I am going to try to do a video tomorrow about thinning fruit because I got to thin the fruit on the stone fruit, and I also going to do a video I think Sunday about how I protect from the sun and stuff like that, and I'll showcase some more things there. All right, well, it's your boy JWa Gardening with JWa. It's good seeing you guys again. Sorry I missed last Friday's upload. See you next time.